thanks everyone for joining today's webinar with ControlUp. I'm Doug Brown from DABCC, and I'm really excited today to have Yoni, the CTO of ControlUp, with us to show us what's new in their ControlUp 5.0 release. And this is a pretty amazing VDI management and collective analytics tool. So with no further ado, let's turn it over to Yoni. But first of all, before he gets taken away by great, cool technology, Yoni, can you tell us a little bit about the company and, of course, a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So first, thanks, Doug, for organizing this. It's great. I'm seeing a lot of NMBs, and I am seeing some familiar faces and names, which is great. So guys who've been with us for a while now, and I'm seeing some new guys. So hopefully everyone will enjoy this show and see what we have here with V5 as a new ControlUp Insights platform. So I will cover I will make an intro to the company in a bit. Regarding myself, I'm one of the co-founders and the CTO of ControlUp, as you mentioned. For a long while, I was doing all kinds of virtualization projects at large enterprise customers. So mostly Citrix, VMware, Microsoft-related projects, RDS, VDI, things which should be familiar to anyone at our customer base. And at one point, we said, hey, why not? We're seeing a big gap here, especially in regards to visibility and management in the whole VDI space. And we thought we can kind of fix that by doing our own solution. And this is simply how ControlUp was born. This was something like 4 or 5 years ago. Since then, we've gone a long way. But initially, it was basically your platform for managing and monitoring your VDI stack. What I'll show you today is something a bit bigger than that. We're also doing analytics now, and we provide historical reporting and troubleshooting and lots of stuff which also interact with the entire Citrix and VMware community. So hopefully you'll learn that in the next hour or so. Right. So, yeah. So I'm just going to dive in. And again, as Doug mentioned, if anyone has any questions, then just use the chat, use the question panel, and ask away. Doug, if you see something you want to mention, just let me know, and I'll cover that during this session.
You bet. I'm going to have my own questions. This is, I'm an attendee and a guy that asks questions.
Okay, great. So, just for guys who have known us before, for a long time we've been mostly about real-time management, and that's the ControlUp console you're seeing here in the screenshot. Now the situation is a bit different in a good way, I think. Right now we are providing the full suite, an end-to-end solution for anyone managing any VDI stack. So any Horizon View, Citrix, Apps, Desktop, Microsoft customer will find in ControlUp a full-blown solution to manage and monitor the state. We currently provide both real-time troubleshooting and management platform. We'll cover that in the demo, and also ControlUp Insights, which is a web-based historical reporting module, which helps guys to both see what's happened historically and do some further analysis and global benchmarks. So we'll cover all of that in the next slide in demo. And the agenda plan for today, we'll do a quick intro, just to again discuss and highlight what ControlUp is all about. I want to quickly cover the architecture. This is something not sure we have shown before in a webinar, and it usually comes up. So I want to show you guys what are the pieces that make ControlUp, how it's working in the background, the cloud stuff, the on-prem solutions, etc. So we'll cover that. And then, as usual, most of the webinar will be about the real-time and the Insights demo. So we'll show what we do, we answer questions, we'll cover some interesting use cases, and wrap up with the Q&A.
Sounds great.
Yeah, okay. So as I mentioned before, I would say our vision here with ControlUp is to basically be the market leaders in regards to VDI management and monitoring. We have gone a long way since we started. We are now deployed at more than 500 enterprise customers, both in the US and Western Europe. And it's looking great, right? We have great traction from both the Citrix and VMware community. We're doing a lot of conferences and user group meetings, and the feedback we see is really awesome. So, it's great to see the feedback and know that what you're doing makes sense to the community. The major values we provide to our customers are listed here. So, troubleshooting and managing performance across the VDI stack from the host layer all the way to actual processes and apps. We put a lot of emphasis on monitoring the end user experience. We'll cover some of that, right? So basically login duration metrics, latency, and some new stuff we added that helps you guys figure out the end user experience. Management was always a key differentiator with ControlUp. We have lots of management actions built in, the script-based actions, so we'll cover that, and I think it's great. And finally, the new ControlUp Insights enable customers to both analyze the historical trends, but also, and this is quite unique, you can also compare your own metrics to the global benchmarks we provide. And we will see that in the demo, and I think this is something really great and interesting. As promised, we'll start with the architecture. So I will share two slides. One we're seeing the customer network, the on-premises environment, basically has three components. The major one is the ControlUp console itself, what we'll see in the demo shortly. This is an executable guys can download from a website, launch it, and start managing their states. The ControlUp agent, which is running on the RDS, ZenApp, the Horizon endpoints. This is where we gather the in-guest data, the user experience metrics. We have connections to hypervisors. Currently, we support VMware and Xen Server. And I can actually say right now that Hyper-V is being added to V6, which is planned for July. So Hyper-V is coming really soon. So obviously, all of this is happening on premises. And finally, we have the ControlUp Monitor service, which is essentially a Windows service running on a dedicated server. And it's in charge of 24/7, continuous monitoring, alerting, incidents reporting, and new in V5, it's also in charge of the historical data upload to ControlUp Insights. We'll cover that in the next architecture slide. When you work with the online solution or the enterprise mode, the backend databases are hosted on our AWS cluster. Some of the important components there is the configuration database, the incidents, the historical incidents database, and the login and licensing logic. Everything is fully encrypted. We use per customer encryption keys, so it's highly secured. We can provide more data about that and about the stuff we save there. We have a full-blown security document, so if anyone is interested, can just send an email to support at controlup.com, and we send more details about the architecture and the security precautions. Now, regarding Insights, so ControlUp Insights, this is a new platform we added in V5. This was launched back in January this year. And let me go over the architecture and how we actually provide the historical data to our customers. So here on the lower left side, you will see the same components you've seen in the previous slide. This is happening on premises. This is our agent running on the VDI endpoints, the RDS servers, all connected to the virtualization infrastructure. All the real-time data is being aggregated on the ControlUp Monitor server, where it writes the activity files, the historical activity files, in 5-minute intervals to its local hard drive. Once the activity files are in place, once every 30 minutes, we upload the historical data via HTTPS to an Amazon S3 secured bucket. And from there, our ETL process actually crunches the data and puts it in a Redshift Amazon-based cluster. This is where the data sits at rest. And from there, our application servers, which provide the user interface and the web services, actually run the database queries and expose the Insights platform itself. So customers, the great thing about that, I would say, that we can provide customers with an excellent first-grade historical reporting module without the hassle of installing and maintaining local databases and web services. Currently, ControlUp Insights is available for online customers. We are planning to add support for on-premises customers during Q3 this year. So it's coming. It will take something like 2 months or 3 months from now to have this available for on-prem as well. Right. So this is pretty much it about the architecture for today. Again, questions, feel free to ask them via the chat, or you can contact us offline later. So I do want to start a demo. I think this is usually the interesting part. So for starters, just we'll start with a quick orientation here, and then I'll cover some use cases, and we'll jump between the real-time console and the Insights platform to show you how we basically provide the full end-to-end solution for your stack. So this is ControlUp console. This is the component which is running on premises, either on the sysadmin endpoints or published on some RDS servers. And this is running on our lab, managing our lab here at ControlUp offices. On the left side here, you can see which managed computers and Active Directory connections we're managing. In this case, you can see I'm connected to both a VMware ESXi6 cluster. I'm also connected to Xen Server 6.5 clusters here. The connection is quite simple. In order to connect ControlUp to your virtualization infrastructure, all is needed. The only thing you need to supply is the web service URL and valid credentials, and that's it. No agents are involved. It's basically remote API calls against the web service. The other type of objects we're managing is basically Windows VMs or even Windows physical boxes. And on top of that, we support all the major VDI brands. So you can see in my lab, we have a XenApp 6.5 environment, XenApp 7.6, both RDS and VDI workloads. Horizon V 5.6, Horizon V7 is also supported. And obviously, you can connect any supporting server, your SQL servers, your connector servers, connection brokers, PVS servers, domain controllers. Any Windows workload can be added here and managed with our ControlUp real-time views and historical reporting module. Now, once the components are in place, we'll show you here we will actually populate the real-time views with data. Okay, what we're seeing right now, this is the host view. So this data is coming from vSphere and Xen Server, and I'm showing you in real time the physical hosts that are running my virtual environments. We have, the metadata, the configuration metrics, and we have real-time performance metrics. Anything from simple stuff like CPU memory usage in real time, and some more advanced metrics like I/O latency, drop packets, I/O usage, basically anything you need in order to find out what's the current status of host VMs, sessions, and processes in your environment. The stress level column, this is something which is quite significant in the ControlUp world. The stress level is kind of a health index, which takes into account the various performance metrics and can tell you in one column what's the current state of this object. In this case, you can see that ES604, this hypervisor, is in a critical stress level. And if I click on the small triangle on the upper right side of the cell, I can see which metrics are actually causing this object to be in a critical stress level. So we can see that the data store usage is quite high, both the rate and the overall IOPS usage. And I want to show you how we can quickly use the real-time view to see what's going on here. All right, so we can drill down into ES604. And the next thing we'll show you is the VMs view. So these are the VMs currently running on ES604. Now, the cool thing here is the aggregated data we can show for VMs. Let me show you an example, right? We're dealing with an IO issue. So I'm clicking on the columns preset, and I'm going to switch to the detailed view IO preset. And ControlUp will now show me a set of disk-related metrics, which are coming both from the VMware, from the vSphere layer, and also from the Windows agent. Right? So for example, you can see in here that vSphere IOPS is almost 5,000 reads and write IOPS. And from the Windows perspective, we're seeing a pretty similar number. So the fact that we can kind of combine virtual and Windows-based metrics in the same view is great, and it really helps when you're troubleshooting issues, performance issues for VMs and basically any virtualized workload. I can sort, I can play with this grid, I can sort it based on any column, like virtual IOPS, like based on the latency or whatnot, and obviously based on the stress level. And here it's pretty clear that this VM here, CRDSH01, is clearly the single VM which is causing the IO issue in the entire host. I just drilled down into CRDSH01, and the next layer of control will show me is the session view. So these are the user sessions currently logged on to CRDSH01. And again, for each session, I have metadata. I have configuration metrics like the logon time, the idle states, the physical endpoint name I use to connect to the RDS or VDI endpoints, latency, user experience metrics, a lot of stuff, right? But also real-time performance metrics. So here we can see that this is my account actually. I'm causing the IO issue, right? You can see here that my account is the only session consuming any IO resources on this VM. And now I can drill down into the session itself, and finally, ControlUp will show me the list of processes or apps running inside a session. Again, with metadata like PID, like the command line, like the process version, and obviously real-time CPU memory and IO metrics. So now we see that DynamoVXC, this process here, is the single process consuming a bit more than 10,000 IOPS, causing an issue on the entire host, affecting a bunch of, in this case, VDI users. Okay, so this is pretty great, right? In a few seconds, you can drill down from the data center to a single process and see what's going on, and see what the culprit. And you can even right-click a session or process and execute the get session screen of action in order to see in real time what the end user is actually doing on his box. Okay, so I just, why is that not active? Sorry. Let me try and fix that for a sec. So again, the get session screen action essentially enables me to see the end user screen in real time. Let's do it again one more time. Should work this time. Right. So this is the end user screen. This is what the user is actually executing right now. And now that I can see the screen, I can figure out that DynamoVXC is actually the engine behind IOmeter. This is the disk utility I'm using to create the load in the first place. Right, so the fact is I can drill down from the data center view all the way to a single app stream and kind of correlate performance issues with specific applications. This is true also for browsers, for your ERP app, or anything which is running on your end user's VDI or ODS endpoints. Now, I did mention that we are focusing also on management, not only monitoring. So some of the things we can do in here is for example, we can send the end user a message about this. We can start a chat. We can get a screenshot. And obviously, we can terminate the process now that we know that this is not a business critical app. So I'm going to go ahead and terminate this DynamoVXC process. And in this specific scenario, this should solve the IO issue. Right? I'm terminating the IOmeter process, and I can go back to the VMs view or the sessions view. I can see in real time that the IO usage has dropped to 0. By the way, we're querying Windows-based metrics every 3 seconds, so that's why the update here is almost immediate. If we're looking on the host layer, then we pull data every 20 seconds. So in something like 10 seconds from now, we should see the IO usage drop on ES604 as well, and the stress level should go back to a normal state. And there you go. ES604 is back in green state, and everything is good. So, this is something we've been doing for a while now, enabling guys to play with the real-time metrics and drilling down and seeing what's going on. Now, I do want to show you how we can achieve the same value, the same in-depth metrics from an historical perspective. Okay, so let me switch to ControlUp Insights. Okay, so this is ControlUp Insights. This is the web-based platform that actually expose all kinds of reports and metrics based on the aggregated real-time data we gather from the agents and the monitor service. Okay, so this is obviously, it's a web platform. It's accessible from web browsers such as Chrome and IE. You can see here that from a time range perspective, you can go back 4 hours, you can go back a day, a week, a month. You can actually go back all the way to 1 year or select custom ranges based, based on the report you're looking at. The data retention is actually tied to your license type, and obviously the platinum guide, the platinum license can go back 1 year and see historical data. What I'm showing right now, this is the host trend report. Okay, so this report shows historical resource consumption usage, the average CPU, memory, I/O, and network usage for your hosts. This includes any host you're managing with the platform. So this could be, again, ES6i, Zen Server, and Hyper-V starting with V6. We are currently looking on the entire hypervisor folder. So this average here is actually the average from all the hypervisors I'm monitoring over the last week worth of data. So we can see that, the average CPU, we can see the average RAM, and we can also see the average I/O utilization. Now in here you can notice that actually yesterday we had a pretty high peak in regards to I/O. So I can go ahead and click on the data point. And ControlUp will show me, since we're looking on the entire hypervisor folder, ControlUp will show me the top 5 hypervisors with the highest amount of I/O resources consumption. So here it's quite clear that ES604 is obviously it's a single culprit, is the one hypervisor that caused the I/O peak. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the link, and we're still looking on the same report here. This is still, let me show you, this is still the host trend, but now I'm looking on a single hypervisor. I'm specifically looking on ES604. And again, I'll scroll down to the I/O usage, the I/O utilization graph, and here I can see the peak quite clearly. It happened yesterday, evening time, and now I can see the data point again. But since I'm now looking on a single host, ControlUp can show me which VMs have actually contributed to the high I/O usage. Okay, so this is pretty cool, right? Like from an historical perspective, whenever I click on any data point, CPU, memory, I/O, in the host view, I can see which VMs have caused that. Okay, so here again, it's pretty clear that CRSH1, the same VM we have seen in the real-time view, was causing the issue. And now to the cool part, we can click on the VM itself, and Insights automatically will switch to the computer trend, the VM trend report, and will show me that specific VM historical resource consumption patterns over the same time frame. Okay, so let's scroll down to the I/O usage. And here we can see the same I/O peak, but this time from the VM perspective. So now we know, right, this VM has caused the issue. And again, we can click on the data point. And now, since we're looking on a VM, ControlUp will show me the historical processes and sessions that caused the issue. So you see here, this is the same DynamoEXE engine, the same process we have seen in the real-time demo, but this time from an historical perspective. So you no longer have to, rely on the real-time data alone. You can now go back in time, a day, a week, a month, even a year, and see all the way to the process data to figure out what went wrong and what caused issues. And this is pretty great. Okay, we can also see the user session that caused that, but let's, jump to another scenario, and then I'll show you how the user session reports in ControlUp Insights look like.
Perfect. Yoni, I have a couple questions for you. If now's a good time.
Sure, yeah, go ahead. That's
perfect. So guys, please use the questions piece to go to webinar to ask questions if you have any. And I have one here. Is there any support for the outside of SBA?
Well, currently not, I'm afraid. We do have quite a few script-based actions that handle this. I would tell you this, right? We have not received a feature request about specific VDI metrics or columns. So I do encourage anyone who asked that, please send an email to support@controlup.com with the feature request if you want a specific metric or a specific action, and we will do our best effort to provide that. It's quite easy for us to add data, so we just need, this 1 or 2 customers who ask that. So, yeah, just go ahead and ask. We'll be happy to provide additional VDI metrics.
Perfect. Can you do custom counters inside the interface?
Oh, yeah, good question. Right. So, yes and no. Right. Yes, you can play with the column list and with the thresholds and with the views. Right. So you can select. We have quite a few built-in columns here. You can see the list I'm showing on screen right now. So a lot of columns for VMs, for users, for processes. So this is one thing you can do, play with the default list. You can also play with the thresholds. Now, regarding custom columns, this is not available right now. We are planning to add support for that sometimes around the V7 version. So it's coming, but it's not available right now.
Cool. And then Hyper-V support?
So yeah, that's a great question, and that's, I can say it's mainly because we're adding support to it in the next release. So right now, ControlUp 5 is the production release. ControlUp 6, the beta, by the way, is planned for June. So something like 2 months from now, we should start ControlUp 6 beta, and Hyper-V is fully supported in this version. Both clustered Hyper-V, standalone Hyper-V, with all the real-time metrics and drill down and historical reporting. So yeah, it's coming, and it's coming soon.
Okay, perfect. And well, we have a couple more. We'll get to these real quick, and then I'll set you loose again. Can I run ControlUp on-premise totally?
Yes.
So 100% on-prem.
Yes, for sure. We have a fully supported ControlUp on-premises deployment. When you do that, you need to install, in addition to the ControlUp console and monitor service, you also need to install 2 components. One is the ControlUp on-premises server. It's a Windows server that will run the configuration database. And the second component, which is optional, is the incident database, which is essentially a SQL database. And once you install that, you have a fully on-premises ControlUp installation. It does not communicate with the cloud in any way. If you want more details on that, we're going to publish some details on our website soon. But for now, simply contact support at ControlUp.com, and they will send you the installation guide and sources and everything you need.
Perfect. And the last question, and then I'll let you move forward. And the gentleman says, I have been trying to create a custom trigger to send out an email when login duration is greater than 60 seconds. So we can generate a ticket and take a look at a particular user profile. Is that possible?
Yeah, it's possible. Actually, I have a similar condition in my own lab environment, and it's firing off really great. It looks like this. Let me show you my own environment. It's part of the session stress incident type. And you can see in here, this is the, let me show you the trigger. So you can see here an example, right? We're looking specifically on the login duration metric. And if it's higher than 60 seconds, you can file an email alert or an event log alert or even a mobile push notification. So it's fully supported. And if you guys need any help with configuring that, then you know the answer, right? Contact our support, and they will help you sort this out. It's fully supported, and it's working great in our own environment.
Perfect. Yoni, please continue along.
Sure. Okay, so moving on, I want to show you some interesting stuff about login duration since we discussed it right now. So right now we're looking on the session view, right? This is a view that shows you all the user sessions connected from all of your managed computers. We have customers who manage a Zen App 6.5 legacy environment and side by side, let's say a Zen Desktop 7.6 environment. So all of these users will be listed here. And you can quickly filter this view to show specific usernames. You can sort the screen based on any column. And you can see all kinds of interesting metrics, like the, for example, you can see the HDX or PCIP latency. So you can see it in here. This is the average latency inside the session. You can see the bandwidth usage. This is for PCIP session. We covered that in a bit. And you can also see the login duration statistics. Okay, so let me show you here, for example, right? We have an account here, Steel Demo. This is one user session. And we can see that the login duration was almost 60 seconds, 58 seconds. So initially, we'll also provide you with details about the phases. We'll show you the profile load time, the group policy processing load time, and the desktop share load time. And we have a helper column called login duration other, which shows how long it took to process all the other metrics we're not directly covering. So the real-time view itself provides a lot of value and a lot of feedback about the login duration and how it breaks down what's going on. In addition to the built-in stuff, we have script-based actions, which are essentially scripts you can import into ControlUp, which can provide additional details about the login duration process. So two quick scripts I want to show you. One is the analyze group policy extension load time. You can see in the real-time view that the group policy processing was a bit more than 40 seconds. This script-based action here will show you exactly which client-side extension has caused that issue. Here we can see that the drive maps took more than 30 seconds, and we can even see which conveniently named GPO has caused that. Okay, so that's great. This can point you to the exact extension, the exact GPO that's causing issues. And I have to say that the amount of feedback we got from customers about this is great, right? Guys are saying, hey, I managed to cut down the login duration time from, I don't know, 50 to 20 seconds by finding out a few GPO issues. So again, it's providing great value. The other script-based action, which is really popular, is the analyze login duration script-based action. And the way it helps is by providing additional phases or steps which are not shown in the real-time column. So, for example, using the script, we can see phases like Citrix UPM load time. We can see stuff like group policy scripts. We can see the user init phase, which in Citrix environments is important because this is where we map drivers and printers. So all of this is exposed in the analyze login duration script. So another great value for troubleshooting login processes. You can see the table on screen right now. You can see the length of time for each phase, and you can see the new phases that are not part of the real-time module. Right, now regarding login duration, ControlUp Insights provide additional value as well. So first, from an historical perspective, if you look on our user session activity report, this is the historical list of sessions that were connected to my environment. So it's really similar to the ControlUp real-time view. You can see here the columns, you can see most of the important metrics, but unlike the real-time console, this will show you everything from an historical perspective. So I can click on the 1 week preset, like I'm doing right now, and ControlUp will show me, in my lab environment, over the last week, we have almost 200 unique sessions. In some of our customer sites, they see here like 10,000 or even 50,000 historical sessions over the last week. And they can export the data to Excel, they can play with it, or they can use the sorting feature, which is part of Insights. I can go here to the login duration column and sort the grid based on that. And this will allow me to answer a question like, over the last week, which user sessions have suffered from a slow logon? So we can see it clearly in here. We can contact the users. We can see what's going on. We can see the breakdown in here as well. You can see the profile load time, the GPO load time, etc. So everything is available also from the historical perspective. So this is one great thing we can do in Insights. You can get all kinds of insights about your user sessions. You can even drill down into a specific session. Let me show you. Let's drill down into this guy here. So when drilling down into a session in Insights, we'll show you a lot of data about that historical session. On the upper side of the report, we'll show you the metadata, which is again, the login time, the log of time, the login duration, the server name, etc. But below that, we'll show you tons of details about the historical session. Okay, so first we'll show you the session states over time. So you can see that initially this session was active. It became idle after a while, and then it was disconnected until it actually logged off. We can show you the client information, right? So you can see here that initially the client was connected from this IP address, from this physical endpoint, and then since it was disconnected, it's obviously, it doesn't have any client information. But if this session was reconnected from another endpoint, you would have seen it in here. So a lot of details about the physical endpoint, about the states. We also provide historical resource usage metrics for this session. We show two types of metrics. We show the session resource consumption. This is the blue lines here, and we show the hosting computer resource consumption. So here you can see, for example, that throughout the life of this session, it consumed something like 0.100 megs of memory, and the server itself used almost 3 gigs of memory. And the same is true for I/O, and also for the CPU. And finally, in the same Gantt-based graph, we can show you a list of processes that are running inside a session with the start and end date. So almost everything there is to know about this session is listed in this report. You can see the states, the processes these are running, the resource consumption, and it's a great way of telling, why an historical session had bad experience. Maybe because the CPU consumption on the hosting endpoint was high, maybe because the latency was high, or maybe because it was running an intensive app inside the session.
Perfect. Yoni, we have a couple of questions. Do you have time?
Yeah, sure. Just one last point here regarding login duration.
Please.
And then I'll take some questions. So just to wrap the login duration part, the login duration report will show you aggregated login duration metrics throughout your entire organization. So we can show you what's the average login duration on your entire organization for the last week or month. We can show it based on silos. And the cool thing is we'll show you how it's comparing against the community benchmark. Now, this is something really cool here. This is since we have anonymized customer data in the cloud, we can run all kinds of benchmarks and provide them back as feedback for our customers. So they can quickly see how they compare against the community benchmark, in this case, for the login duration statistics. Actually, Eugene, one of our top, he's actually our VP of product operation, he wrote a blog about that, right? He wrote a blog about what we as a vendor or the community can learn from 2 million logons, right? That's what actually a few months ago. Now I think we have data for almost 1 billion logons. But this is it's a great. Let me put this in the chat if anyone wants to visit that later. Not working for some reason. Just a sec. So anyway, what we're the value we provide here in this. Okay, so here, for example, you can see stuff that we learned from all of those metrics. So we can see, for example, there is a pretty big difference between the login duration average in a published app environment against a published desktop environment. Now, which is not that shocking, I guess, because published apps do lack the desktop shell phase. But again, it's just an example of an insight we can share with our customers once we have the data. So I do encourage you to kind of visit this and learn more about this. And I see that we pasted the URL in the chat, so feel free to visit this. Right, sorry, Doug. So yeah, I'm available for questions at this point. So just go ahead. Doug, you wanted to ask some questions from the audience?
I was talking away and I was on mute. So
yeah.
Yeah, my fault. So you had mentioned the interim delay, and the question is, what is the interim delay?
Well, the interim delay is actually the time between the phases. Okay. Actually, there is a great blog from Citrix. Let me show you here. When we published the analyzed login duration script, we also share this with the community as a free script. And we can also copy and paste this link in the chat so you guys can visit this. But here, we explain everything about the script and what's going on here. So the interim delay, which you can see here in this screenshot, is, again, it's the time between phases. Right? So, for example, hopefully you can see this. Let me try and increase the size of the screen here. So here you can see that the interim delay between the network providers phase and the 662 PM phase was 1.7 seconds. So again, the interim delay is the time between phases we mentioned or monitor in the script.
Perfect. And will we have the ability to add or remove columns from the session activity view in a future release?
The session activity, do they mean the Insights reports or the real-time console? If you mean the user session activity report, then you can do it right now. You can click here on the filter, and one of the options here is to select or deselect columns. So this is available right now in the ControlUp Insights. And if you were referring to the real-time console, then it's even simpler. Just click on the session view, click on columns, and you can play with the list of columns here.
Perfect. Question, whether whether you guys also show login phases related to Zen Desktop.
Oh yeah, this actually it's a great question. So initially, the login duration script, the analyzed login duration script, was referring only to Windows-related metrics. Recently, and I think I have it in here. Yeah, so this blog was published back in February. And this is where we actually posted the new script, which obviously you can write from ControlUp, but this adds support for Zen Desktop related metrics. So the major phase we added here is the HDX connection phase, which covers the whole phase before the Windows logon. So now we can show you how long it took to initialize the HDX client, the connection, and everything. Another piece of good news I can share with you is that with ControlUp 6, this phase and other phases related to Zen Desktop are going to be integrated into the real-time view. So you will not need the script for that. It will be part of ControlUp Insights, part of ControlUp Real-Time, and it will provide additional value for the existing login duration module.
Very cool. Very cool. Guys, if you have any more questions, please use the questions piece to ask the questions. And Yoni, please continue along.
Okay, so I want to highlight some of the new stuff we added in V5. So obviously the major thing we added is ControlUp Insights, and we're showing it throughout the demo here, but we also added some real-time related metrics. So one example here, and that's new for the Horizon View users out there, we added support for the PCOIP bandwidth usage metric. So we can now show you in real time what's the bandwidth usage for each PCOIP session. By the way, we're going to add HDX support for that in V6. So starting with V6, you'll be able to monitor both the HDX and the PCOIP bandwidth usage for each session. So that's one thing. One quick note I want to add here is that we also released a script-based action that enables customers to figure out which PCOIP virtual channels are causing the bandwidth usage. Right, so you can see here that the bandwidth usage is almost 7 megabytes. So I can go ahead and fire the PCOIP bandwidth usage details script-based action. It will run in the background, and it should show me in the output which PCOIP channels are actually causing this high bandwidth usage. So you should be able to see it on screen right now. We show the overall bandwidth usage, and we show a breakdown of virtual channels, the imaging bytes, the audio and USB bytes. Now, guys, if you think this would be valuable for HDX as well, just let us know via the support or the feedback forums in ControlUp, and we would love to add this to HDX as well. Other things we added in V5 is the branch name metric for sessions. So it's great. You can see you can actually configure mapping between client IP addresses and branch names, and that way you can see in real time from which physical branch the individual session was originated from. This will also help with future insights reports. Sorry. Another great thing we added is Citrix license server monitoring. So if you deploy the ControlUp agent on a Citrix license server, we will automatically detect that. And when you drill down into the server, you can click on the Citrix licenses tab here. This is a new tab in V5, and you can see the real-time license usage for each licensed product. Okay, in my case, you can see that the Zen Desktop Enterprise, user device license type is 86% of the devices are already consumed. And one more thing I want to show you in regards to V5, we also added a new interesting column for any PVS customer out there. So these are my Zen App 6.5 servers. They're actually provisioned on via PVS 7.6, and we added a new non-paged full memory column. And this is a great way to evaluate the PVS RAM cache size, which is obviously a critical metric to evaluate, because if the RAM cache is running out, then the PVS will start using the disk for cache, and everything will be obviously slower. So you can set triggers here, and it can actually alert you in real time when your PVS RAM cache is running out. We have a blog about PVS-related issues. You can see it in here. So we cover all kinds of PVS issues. ControlUp can help with troubleshooting or monitoring, just like the one I showed you right now.
Very cool, very cool.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so these are some of the major features we added in V5. I do want to go back to Insights. I want to show you a few other reports we haven't covered yet. So we added 2 new reports in the latest release. But this is a good time to mention that since ControlUp Insights is a hosted solution or a SaaS solution, it enables us to add new releases in a very short cycle. So essentially, we try to add features, to add reports, like every month or two. And since we released the portal, we already added some pretty interesting reports. So 2 reports we added like 2 weeks ago. I want to quickly show them to you and explain the value behind them. So one is the top Windows error. So what we're showing you a distribution of Windows errors across the previous month with some stats about them. And more importantly, we can show you the top 10 Windows errors in the organization in terms of occurrences and distribution. So it's a great way to see what are the most common events, most common issues, if you will, in your environment, and to see on how many VMs they're actually happening, and to find more details about them using the Research Online link. Okay. This would be a great time to mention that if you see something interesting in here, like let's say you see that you have quite a few, IMA service event ID 3989 in your environment, you can go to the ControlUp incidents pane and dig deeper than that. You can see on which servers this was triggered. You can see the time. So I would say that this report serves as an initial point to see the major issues happening in our environment. And from there, you can drill down to the incidents pane in ControlUp and gain more insights about those Windows errors occurring in your environment. Another interesting fact we show here is the global distribution of those specific events. You can see how common these events are in other organizations, which can be really valuable if you want to find out if this is a common issue or something which is specific to your own environment.
Great, Yoni, you could please continue.
No, go ahead.
Okay, great. Yeah, back to the PVS stuff. You were talking about PVS RAM cache sizes. Whether you monitor other PVS cache types, like a disk-based cache, things of that nature?
Oh yeah, for sure. That's a good question. So besides the PVS RAM cache size, we also provide the ability to monitor the PVS disk-based cache. Okay, this can be done either via the free space column we have for those specific drives, or via built-in script-based action. Right, we have the ability to execute. Let's see, to get PVS target devices, get PVS write cache size. Sorry, and once you run this against your targets, you can see in real time what's the cache type, and if it's a disk-based cache, we can also show you the size of the cache file, etc. So it's available both as a script-based action and also as a real-time column, which means you can also get alerts if the PVS cache drive is about to run out of space.
Perfect. Will version 6 show ICA RTT latency? Not easy for me to say.
Oh yeah, it stands for the round trip. It's a great metric.
You got it.
Yeah, it's unlike latency. It provides a more, I would say, accurate metric for the actual network latency. So we got a few requests for that. We are trying to add this in V6. The thing is that the RTT metric is not available via the regular Citrix APIs. And this is a bit unfortunate. It's not available via the OData API or the PowerShell API. It's only available as a WMI metric. So we want to integrate this. We don't want to cause performance issues, so it's still in the testing phase. Hopefully, we can get it seen either this week or V7.
Perfect.
Okay, so the last report I want to share with you guys is the brand new application usage details report. I know that a lot of customers have been looking for something like this, so what we provided here is the ability for each process or each app running in your environment, we can show you, I would say, 3 major statistics. First, we can show you a trend over time of, how many instances are being executed concurrently over the last, day, week, etc., which is great. So you can see if you have, if you have peaks or what's the overall usage. In addition, we show you the unique number of named users who are running this app. So, sometimes for licensing purposes, you need to know how many unique named users are running the app. So the data will be in here. And finally, we'll show you the actual usernames, the actual end users who are running this app. Now, this could be exported to a CSV file, so you can play with the data yourself. But essentially, we'll answer the top questions regarding the app usage. So what's the peak concurrent usage? How the trend looks like? How many unique named users are using that? And who actually is using the app? Great value, I think, and it's out of the box. It's here in Insights. You can play with this. And I think it's a great addition to our existing reports inventory. We don't have a lot of time left, so let's see. I can share. No, any other questions, Doug, regarding what we've seen so far, besides what we already answered, I guess?
Yeah. What new plan? Do you have any new reports planned for the future?
Great. This is exactly what I wanted to see if I can share with you guys. So what I'm showing you here on screen, this is the near-term plan for ControlUp Insights. So hopefully the reports you're seeing on screen will be available in the next couple of months. So Citrix license usage, protocol latency, right? But protocol latency not from the specific session perspective, but for entire branches or the entire organization. Client version, so you can see a distribution of PCOIP or HDX or Citrix receiver versions across different devices and timeframes. And finally, just like we've seen in the app usage details report, we want to share a similar report that will show the app resource consumption over time. So for a specific app, how does it behave in terms of I/O, CPU, and RAM resource consumption? So, all of this is coming soon, so stay tuned, and I think it's going to add great value to the existing Insights platform.
Perfect. Triggers for clients connecting with high latency. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. It's fully supported. So one of the existing columns is the protocol latency column. So you can simply configure a trigger, like I'm showing you right now, for the session stress. I'm doing it fast because we're running out of time. And one of the criteria you can add here is the protocol latency column, right? The average. You can say, right, if this is greater than, 100 milliseconds, I can go ahead and create a trigger and send me an alert or whatnot. So it's fully supported.
Perfect. We have a couple more questions, but I'll let you go ahead and finish, and then we'll ask those at the very end. Sound fair?
Yeah, well, actually, the good news is I've kind of covered everything I wanted to cover, so we can just stick with the Q&A and wrap up.
Perfect. So, guys, we have a few minutes left, but we will definitely stick around and answer all your questions. So, if you have anything, just use the questions piece to go to webinar. If they're on the right side of your screen, and ask away. So, one of the questions is, enough said. How is Insights licensed?
Oh yeah, that's a fair question, I guess. We should have a slide for that here. Okay, so essentially ControlUp as a whole is licensed based on 2 parameters, right? One is the number of concurrent sessions or VMs you're managing with ControlUp, and the other parameter is the data retention in Insights. Okay, so you can see the version numbers here. So ControlUp Pro enables 1 day of retention. ControlUp Enterprise provides 1 month, and ControlUp Platinum gives you a full 1 year of data retention for the customer site. So again, we're licensed based on concurrent users or VMs and the data retention period.
Perfect. Integration with ticketing systems.
Yeah, that's a good one. So we do it quite a lot at customer sites. The easiest way, currently the easiest way to integrate with ticketing system is basically use the follow-up event log option. I'm showing it on screen right now. So what will happen is that ControlUp will detect an issue. Again, a high latency, high login duration, a stressed host or whatnot. And once we pick that up, we can create an event log on the central monitor service with all the details. And the easiest way to integrate is to just tell your monitoring system, your ticketing system, to look for that specific event log. And whenever you find a ControlUp event with the details, just parse it and create a ticket based on that. We have quite a few customers doing it with COM, with HP, with CSAID, all kinds of ticketing system out there.
Perfect, perfect. This one's for me, and that is future stuff. What can we expect from you guys? Well, you've talked a lot about future already, but anything else that you've left out that you would like to discuss or share with us?
Well, two things I can share with you guys. So first, as I said, ControlUp 6 is coming in hopefully the beta will start in June, and we're adding support for Hyper-V, and we're also enhancing our integration with Zen Desktop. We're going to do some cool stuff here. In addition, we're going to add an application load time module. It's going to be pretty great. It's going to let you see exactly what's going on in real time, and how long it takes for apps to start and become available for the end users. Okay, so think about users running Outlook or Excel or the Chrome app. We can tell you in real time how long it took, how many seconds it took for the app to become fully available for the end user. And besides the real-time columns, we'll also show historical reporting insights behind that, and obviously share the benchmark. So if customers will be able to see, hey, in my environment, Outlook takes 25 seconds to load, but the benchmark is 10 seconds. So it's probably a great idea to, kind of look into that and see maybe I have a problematic add-in or something is not configured properly, which is causing that delay. So this is coming in V6, and in Insights we spoke about some of the reports we're adding. We're also adding some more sophisticated benchmarking and knowledge-based reports, but I think this will be the topic of our next webinar, I guess.
Perfect. Thank you, Yoni. We're 3 minutes over, and we're out of questions. So if you guys have any other questions, well, here's one question came in, and so I'll answer this. How does the ControlUp Monitor agent upload data to the cloud? That's a good one.
Yeah. So as I mentioned in the, actually we can go back to the architecture slide. So it's listed right here, right? So the monitor service is writing the historical activity files to disk every 5 minutes. And every 30 minutes, the monitor service uploads via HTTPS the historical data, the historical files, to a secure Amazon S3 bucket, which is part of the ControlUp Insights platform. So it's done via HTTPS. It's fully encrypted both in transit and at rest. And this is the process in high level. If guys, if anyone wants more details, again, contact us and we provide a full documentation about that. Perfect.
Well, one last question here, and let's see if anyone's asked another one before we're done with this one, but time frame for automated reports.
It's a good question. It's a highly requested feature. The good news is that it should be available in the next couple of months. Okay, it's in the works. We're first preparing the bookmarks feature, which will be kind of a platform for the automation part. And once this is in place, hopefully in like a month, then a month after that we can release the automation feature for reports.
Perfect. Yoni, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today. Guys, thank you so much for the great questions and of course just attending the webinar in general. I hope you guys liked what you saw up in front of you as a 30. Well, definitely download this thing. It's really neat that you don't have to fill out forms and stuff. You just go to the site, click on the link, and down comes the executable. It's amazing. One of the few guys I've ever seen do that. So just ControlUp.com. It's that simple. Yoni, anything else to add?
I just want to thank you, Doug, for this great webinar and the audience. And yeah, as mentioned here on the slide, just for anyone who's not a customer, just go to our website, download the free trial, and enjoy the ride.
Perfect. Thank you, guys. And I'm going to go ahead and call this a webinar, close it off. Hope the recording completes, and then I'll edit the thing up and get it posted for you guys. So thanks, everyone, for listening. Thank you, Yoni, for doing a phenomenal job. And go ahead, ControlUp.com, and download away. Thanks, guys.